Hi, I'm Will Adams, and this is Honeybrook Tools and Woodworks. Today on the bench, I've got 3 sets of winding sticks that are nearing completion. And the next step will be to apply shellac. And as I was inspecting them, I noticed that this one has a small imperfection in the back that needs to be planed smooth. So I thought I would take the opportunity to just do a quick video on how to set the hand plane. And by setting, I mean, and I've overthought how to explain this a million different ways, so I'm going to show you. By setting the iron, I mean setting the iron into the body of the plane so that the plane iron is parallel with the mouth of the plane. Or, in other words, you don't want it skewed in one direction or another. So I've got 3 planes on the bench today. This is my Stanley number 4 smoothing plane. It has a lateral adjustment lever, which, again, as the name implies, it adjusts the iron laterally, left and right. I've also got my HNT Gordon smoothing plane. You'll notice this has a depth adjustment, but it doesn't have a lateral adjustment. So this one is adjusted with a plane iron adjusting hammer. I've also got my Lee-Nielsen 60.5 low angle block plane. It too doesn't have a lateral adjustment, so it needs to be adjusted with a plane iron adjusting hammer. So I'm going to show you my method, how I do it. I believe I picked up the method from Paul Sellers, so it's not really my method. And perhaps this is the common way of doing it, but for anybody that's new to woodworking and wanted to know how to do this, I thought I'd do a quick video. Now, I also want to address one of the great controversies in woodworking. You'll notice that I set my planes on their sole on the bench. There is a school of thought that says that they should always be laid on their side. And I believe this is how it was taught way back in the day in trade schools. And I think the theory is that by laying it on its side, you lessen the opportunity for damaging the iron. I don't buy into that because I'm placing my plane down on the bench, which is made out of wood. I keep my bench clean. It doesn't have any metal on it. So I think the likelihood of it getting a nick by me placing it down on the bench is fairly minimal. The other downside that I see to placing it on its side is, depending on how you do it, if you've already set the iron, there's a chance that it's going to get knocked out of alignment. I guess the same could be said of setting it down on its sole, but who knows? It's one of those great controversies in woodworking. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I am a sole down kind of a guy, and if you have a differing opinion, that's awesome. But be kind about your opinions. So I'm going to move the camera in to show you how I go about setting these. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got these 3 planes on the bench, and I'm going to start, excuse me, with my Stanley number 4. Simply because it's got a lateral adjustment lever, and I suspect that that is the style that most folks out there will have. So I start by backing the iron off. And I do 2 things. I sight down the sole of the plane as I adjust, or as I advance the iron. And I can just see that it's starting to protrude. And then I'm a firm believer in using as many of your senses as you can while you're woodworking. Clearly your eyes, your sense of feel, touch, and what you hear too. So I use my fingers not to go this way so that you're going to cut yourself, but I just gently feel of the blade to see how it's protruding and to feel if one side feels thicker than the other. And I think this side might be a little bit deeper than this side, but let's check it. So this is how I do it. I start with the plane using one side of the plane flush with the edge of the board, and I see what kind of shaving I get. Pretty thin there. Then I go to the opposite side, and I can just tell by the feel of the stroke, and even listening to it, I can feel, and now I can feel the shaving is thicker than I need it to be. So I'm gonna make a slight adjustment on the lateral adjustment lever. Go back over here and here. Man, these sound alike. Hey, let's, just for kicks, let's see if we can, I got my calipers here. Just for kicks, let's see if we can get a reading. So this says, oops, zero out my calipers. Okay, whoops, that's not right. So 0.04 millimeters. And this one, and I'm not suggesting that you do this every time you set your plane iron. I just thought it would be fun to do. Because if we're not having fun in the wood shop, I'm not sure why we're here. Oh, look at that. It's wobbling between 0.004 and 0.005. 0.005, so I would say that that's dead on. Now let's look at the center. Now there's a chance this might be a little bit deeper, only because I put a slight camber on my iron. Let's see. Look at that. It's wobbling between 0.004 and 0.005. So I would say this one's good to go. Now, I also said I've got this HNT Gordon smoothing plane. Great tool. And just for what it's worth, one of the main differences between this and the Stanley number 4, this has the iron is bedded at 55 degrees, whereas this is bedded at 45 degrees. So you'll see it has a depth adjustment, but no lateral adjustment. So what are you to do? Well, this is the plane iron adjusting hammer that I make and sell on my website, honeybrookTools.com. It's 4.5 ounces in weight. And this is a finesse tool. If you're familiar with wooden hand planes, often you need to whack the heel to loosen the wedge in the iron. That is not what this is for. This is for making small, subtle adjustments on the iron. This one is actually in my inventory for sale, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use this one, which is one of the prototypes that I made when I was first teaching myself how to use the metal lathe. So I keep this on the bench. So it's the same process in terms of checking the depth. Start over here, start over there, and then go in the center. It feels a little bit And just for fun, let's check this one too. .010. And let's see what the right-hand side is telling us. Yeah, look at that. 0.01, whoops. 0.08, so that's a little bit thicker. Anyway, this is woodworking, not machining, so thousandths of a difference from side to side won't make any difference. But if I did need to make an adjustment, I would use my plain iron adjusting hammer to make slight taps. So I'm going to tap it out of square just to show you. And listen to this. I don't know that the camera will pick up on it, but from what I'm hearing, I can hear a difference in how deep this side is versus that side. I also know that I just tapped it out of square. So now I'm going to make, really doesn't take much more than that. I'm going to feel of it. That still feels a little deep. See what happens here. Back that off too much. Ooh. .09. .09, okay? And then I've got my Lee Nielsen number 60.5 low angle block plane. It too doesn't have a lateral, so you would make fine tapping adjustments with this. It's the same process as the HNT Gordon. You can also look at it like the others. This one looks like it's good to go. Feels right. Pretty light on that side. A little heavier on that side. There we go. And those are good to go. So that's how I set the iron in a hand plane. I reckon there's other ways to do it, and that's fine. This is the way I do it. I think I picked this up from Paul Sellers' videos when I was first learning woodworking. And as I said, there might be other ways, but this is the way I do it, and it works for me. So if you have any questions or comments, I'll even indulge questions about the controversial idea of setting your plane on their soles on the bench. But be kind. Always be kind. If you have questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you like this video, please smash that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.